Hello. We're back. Wow, it's been a while. Whoop, thought I screwed something up. Hi. Happy New Year. If you're brand new, my name's Keith. I'm your meditation teacher here on this channel, Meditation Breaks. If you're returning, welcome back. We had it was probably like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. How come we didn't have this last week? I was spending time with my family, so I was away. I couldn't stream. But now it's New Year. We're gonna get back to a nice little cadence. So should be pretty consistent each week going forward. But hope you all had a really wonderful break, holiday if you celebrated it, New Year if you celebrated it. I know this is a really it's a really cool time for me to think back on all of the stuff we've done together, and definitely have a lot of gratitude. We spoke so much about gratitude before the new year, and I definitely was feeling that a lot, thinking about all the time commitment that you guys give each week to be here and to learn and make it such a fun environment. So thank you for all that, and I'm glad to be back. Okay, so it will probably come as not a surprise that some of our topic today is going to be around the idea of goals and stuff like that. But I got a great suggestion from Cassie, who is a regular here, to maybe look at it from like a time management perspective. And I thought that was a really great idea. So we're going to kind of do a little hybrid of, hey, here are some things that I want to do in this year, and how do I manage my time so that I set myself up for success to do them, right? And meditation is a great way of doing this. So even if your goal isn't to start a meditation program, meditation can help you stay on top of what you're trying to do and find the best way for you to accomplish that. And that's going to be a key theme for us today. There's going to be a lot of like kind of honesty with ourselves about what we're feel comfortable with doing, right? Cool. Hey Norma. Hey Wanda, how you doing? Welcome back. Okay, so if you are brand new, again, my name is Keith. You don't need to have any sort of like prerequisite meditation knowledge to be here. If this is your first time ever meditating, great. Starting off the new year right. And we're going to get to the basics from the get-go, right? So even though each week we have a topic that we cover, I always start with what is meditation, kind of like our little 101, right? So, hey, Antonio. So don't worry if this is your first time. This is a great class for you to get started, right? And then, so we will start that way, a little bit of an intro, and then we'll do a quick meditation together, and be short. Don't worry, you're not going to be sitting there that long. And then we're going to talk about our topic. And again, this is all geared around the New Year's. Maybe we're doing resolutions. Maybe we just have some things that we want to do. And how do we manage our time to help set ourselves up for success, right? How do we make sure that we accomplish all this cool stuff that we want to do, right? Awesome. Okay, so we're going to get started. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask them at any time. You do not need to wait for me to say it's question time. If you have a question about anything I said, didn't make sense, you want to share something, feel free to just fire it away in the chat there. You can see some people chatting already. I will give my email out towards the end of the session. So if you think of something after class is over, no big deal. You can just email me. All right. Hey, Rupa. How you doing? Patricia. It's so good to see you guys. Okay, we're going to get started. 2024, here we go. We're starting to meditate. So what is meditation, right? So this is this time of year where there's a lot of interest in meditation, right? Because it's one of these things that we know, like we hear, meditation, that's good for you. We hear that all, we hear it all the time. But why? Like, what is it? So what is it? Right? If I were to ask you to picture meditation, picture someone meditating, I know what you're thinking. It's somebody sitting cross-legged on the floor, right? Our eyes are closed. They look very peaceful. We want that. That looks great. So this is a way to meditate. It's a traditional kind of seated meditation style. But that is just a way to meditate. It is not really the definition of what meditation is. So, we hear that meditation's good. Why? What is the definition of meditation? What is it doing? Right? So, I want you to think about meditation as a technique that you can use to become really familiar with something, right? Why is that important? That's another kind of vague definition. But this idea of familiarity is essential to meditation and to our life. Right? And when we're talking about meditation, we're generally talking about mental familiarity, right? But hey, Rob, physical familiarity is a really great comparison to why familiarity in the mental capacity is really important, because they're the same. They're doing the same thing, right? So if we think about something we're really familiar with, right? Or maybe, how about this? This time of year, I know I'm always like, I'm going to exercise. I'm going to exercise more, right? I always say that. Yeah, maybe I'm going to run. I'm going to go run. I'm going to run. Start running, right? Now, I am not a runner. You might not know that about me. Maybe you guessed. And so you could say I'm not familiar. My body, mentally, what it takes to go out and run each day. I'm not familiar with that, right? And so when I do those things, it's not always going that great, right? I'm going to be really sore at first. I'm going to be out of breath. I'm not going to be able to go that far, right? But if I practice a little bit each day, take some breaks, gradual, a little bit each day, what is going to start to happen is my body and my mind, everything that is required to run and run well, right, and run safely, is going to start to become more familiar to me. And as a result, it starts to come a little bit more natural. Right? So this is the power of familiarity, and it's all over our life, right? If you think about when you think about walking, right? So we do that pretty regularly. We don't have to think about it anymore, right? When we were a kid, we didn't know how to walk. We weren't born knowing how to walk. We had to learn. And when we were learning, it's not very graceful at first. There's a lot of stumbling involved and crashing and tumbling. We look back at that and we're like, it's hard to imagine what it was like to be in that state where walking was so unfamiliar to us, because it's so familiar to us now. We can do it without even thinking about it. We can walk while, I don't know, talking to somebody or whistling. I can't whistle. So I'm not doing that. But the point is, familiarity has a very specific output. And that is, the more familiar you are with something, the more regularly it starts to show up, right? Less effort. Now, good and bad, right? So it's not like, oh, this is only for the good stuff, right? So you think about something like anger. Right? We don't have to try to get angry. You've never once in your life said, hey, hold on a second. I'm in such a great mood, but I want to get angry here. So let me stop, and I'm going to have to take a moment, right? I don't know. I don't think anyone's ever said that. Maybe the Hulk, right? But patience, which is the opposite of anger. Oh, now we have to actually stop, pause. I need a second, right? I got to think about this. I got to put a little space in between me and the situation, right? So this isn't because we're naturally really angry or incapable of being patient. It's just that, hey, our mind is used to getting annoyed. It's had a lot of practice getting annoyed. Right? If we had some analytics on it, I'm sure the graph would show predominantly annoyed, more than super patient, So this is a product of familiarity, and that's great news, right? Because even though it's hard to change, because our mind has the ability to become familiar with things, learn behavior, our potential of what we want to be, what we want to come naturally to us is limitless, right? It just takes practice, time, right? That's it. Cool. So that's really what we're going for with meditation is we're trying to choose what do I want to be familiar with? Like what do I want come naturally to my mind? Calm, peacefulness, kindness, and then how do I train my mind so that way I don't have to try so hard for those things to happen? Cool. So that's kind of a general intro to what meditation is achieving. But how do we do it? Right? So it sounds great, but we got to start somewhere. And the place that we start is usually breathing meditation. If you have tried meditation before on your own, maybe like Headspace or something like that, a lot of it is breathing meditation, and for good reason. Breathing meditation is accessible. Right? Your breath is always with you. This is a really great and important aspect of meditation. We don't need specific conditions to do this. We might like them. We might like perfect silence. We might like going to a mountaintop, but we don't need to do those things, right? Sometimes that's a misconception about meditation, that in order to meditate, I need to have perfect silence, right? I don't know about you, but my life is very rarely silent. So if that's the case, then I don't know if meditation is going to be that great for me. So the cool thing is that we don't need that stuff, right? And breathing meditation is a great way to start to build up our confidence in that truth that we can do this with just our breath. And we always have our breath with us. Right? So we're going to start there. And breathing meditation, more formally, is known as single-pointed concentration. We are single-pointedly concentrating on our breath. Right? So what does that mean? It means that we're going to focus so exclusively on one thing, our breath, so we're not multitasking, that all the other stuff that is pulling for our attention in our mind, I got work coming up. Oh, what am I going to do for dinner? Oh, this person said this to me 3 years ago and I'm still thinking about it. Like all those things that are just kind of like bouncing around, there's not going to be a lot of room for them because we got a big old single-pointed focus on our breath. Right? So we don't often associate concentrating with peacefulness, but that's exactly what we're doing. We are concentrating so much on one thing that the other stuff fades a little bit. You've probably experienced this a couple times in your life, at least a couple times. Being in the zone or like flow state, stuff like that. It's a pretty good comp, right? 15 minutes hasn't said anything. Conrad, be cool, man. Be cool. We're learning. So, when we do this, there's going to be 3 steps. All right, Conrad, you ready? Step 1. We're going to choose to do this. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's important. We sometimes do this accidentally. Right? We have meditative experience accidentally, but we want to train our mind to do this when we want to, when we need to. We want our mind to kind of follow our lead as opposed to the other thing. Right? 2. When you're focusing on your breath, and I'm going to be guiding, so it's not going to be, you're not going to be on your own. Whenever you notice that your attention drifts, we're just going to say not right now to those thoughts. Doesn't matter what you're thinking about. Could be what you're going to have for dinner, work, something coming up really important or really mundane. Doesn't matter. Whenever you notice that your attention is no longer exclusively on your own breath, we're just going to bring our attention back, right? We're going to say not right now. We can imagine ourselves putting those thoughts aside and bring our attention back to breathing, right? Bring your attention back is the 3rd step. So 1, choose to do this. Make a promise to yourself, set an intention. 2, notice while you're doing this when your attention is no longer exclusively on your breath. 3, start to bring your attention back. All right. The goal here is not to never get distracted. Right. That is not meditation. Meditation is the practice of noticing when you're distracted and bringing your attention back. Right. And over time, it'll get easier training our mind to do this. Okay. So we're going to do a little breathing meditation now. Okay. All right. So you might notice that I am not sitting on the floor. I am in a chair, a very comfortable office chair. You too can be in your favorite seating arrangement. It is not necessary for you to be sitting on the floor. If you want to, go right ahead. But you can also lay down. Doesn't matter. Right? There's no one way to do this. And you can go ahead and close your eyes. This is number 3. Okay. I'll just go through them all again. Great question. 1, we're going to choose to do this. I'm going to guide you through this whole process, but we're basically just making a promise to ourselves. For the next couple of minutes, I'm going to focus on my breath, and that's it. 2, going to keep a little eye out for whenever our attention is not exclusively on our breath. We're going to say not right now to those thoughts. We'll put them aside. We'll get to them later. And then 3, we're going to guide ourselves back, our attention back to our breath. Right? It's a little cycle there. Great question. Okay, so go ahead and get comfy, relax, close your eyes. This will help with some visual distractions, and I'm going to guide us through probably about a 5-minute breathing meditation. All right? Okay. Whenever we start a meditation, first things first, take a moment and check in with yourself. Take inventory of how you're feeling. What's your mind up to right now, in this exact moment? Maybe we're feeling tired. We've had a long day. Maybe we're feeling energetic or inspired. Maybe we're happy. Maybe we're sad. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We're not doing anything about it. We are just noticing. We're practicing being an observer. This is a technique called mindfulness. Maybe you've heard that before. Mindfulness is an active awareness of your own thoughts, moment to moment, for the very specific purpose of being able to respond skillfully to those thoughts. And this starts with checking in. How are you feeling right now? Having done that, we can now make a promise to ourselves. We're setting an intention. We're setting a promise to focus single-pointedly, exclusively on our own breath for the next couple of minutes. Just set that promise, and then with that intention firmly in place in your mind, do just that. Begin to breathe in and out. Very gently, very naturally. You do not need to change anything about the way you normally breathe here. No need to do big, deep in-breaths or forcefully exhale air. However you normally breathe is perfect. Do just that. In and out. Very gently, very naturally. At some point, perhaps very quickly, we may notice our attention is not exclusively on our breath. It's splitting time. Maybe we're thinking about something that happened earlier today, or something we have to do later or tomorrow. Whenever we notice that this has happened, we can just say, not right now, to those thoughts. We'll get to them later. You can imagine yourself placing them beside you. And then purposefully guide your attention back to your own breath, single pointedly focusing on each and every breath in and out, gently, naturally. We are single pointedly focusing on each moment of each breath. See if you can follow the journey that the air makes. See if you can follow that air. Imagine seeing it enter your body when you breathe in. Can you feel your lungs expanding? And what about when you exhale? Can you follow the air's journey there too? Can you feel your chest contracting? Can you watch as the air leaves your body, goes back into the atmosphere where it dissipates? A moment to moment interest, fascination, enjoyment in breathing in and breathing out. Very gently, very naturally. Keep bringing your attention back as many times as you need to. This process of choosing to focus on your breath, noticing when your attention drifts, bringing your attention back, that is meditation. You are meditating right now. You are training your mind to relax, to access its natural peaceful state. Most importantly, you are training your mind to focus on what you want to focus on, not what it wants to focus on. And right now, the only thing that you want to focus on is breathing in, breathing out. Very gently, very naturally. So just for the last few moments, continue to breathe. You don't have to think about too much. Just take a little time for yourself. You deserve it. All right. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello. Welcome back. So that's pretty straightforward breathing meditation. 3 steps. Now, just because something's 3 steps doesn't mean it's easy, right? But the only reason why it's challenging, if it was, is because you're not familiar with this, right? When's the last time you did this? When's the last time you're like, hey, I have an idea of how I'll spend my time. I'm going to sit here and focus on my breath. And then when anything pops into my mind, I'm not, like, we don't do that, right? And so our mind, left to its own devices, has become really, really, really familiar with multitasking, right? And so when we ask our mind to not multitask, we might get some resistance, right? Our mind's like, wait, why you having me focus on one thing? I can focus on 6,000 things. Watch this, right? And that's great for getting some worldly tasks done, but maybe not the best for being super relaxed. So we're going to try to teach our mind that there's another way of thinking, and there's benefit to that. I look forward to it. Right? Good job. Was that anyone's first time doing this? And if so, I'm always curious to see how people's first experiences, because some people are like, man, my mind was all over the place. Some people are like, hey, that wasn't so bad. Both responses are perfect. Cool. All right. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to move on. Right. So this is, we got our feet wet there with a little bit of breathing meditation. Now, on this channel, we talk about a lot of different ways to meditate. And even though there's a lot of different ways, Georgette, thank you. I'm glad you're feeling good. Jackie, first time, how'd it go? Good? My first time, I was like, whoa, my mind is all over the place. I still say that sometimes. It was like 17 years later. But it went great. Oh, that's awesome. Good. It's a great experience, right? Okay. So, even though we're talking about a different topic each week, the core fundamentals of meditation never change, right? So we did breathing meditation, which is single pointedly focusing on our breath. You could say the object of our meditation is our breath, right? But the object of our meditation could be anything, right? It can even be an idea or a concept, right? That's sometimes called a contemplation, but it's still meditation. The only thing that's required for something to be meditation is we are choosing to focus single pointedly on it. That's our choice. We're noticing when we're no longer doing that, we're bringing our attention back. So you can meditate on anything and get creative with how to start incorporating meditation into your life. And I think next week we're going to talk a little bit more about that, because that's a really important topic for trying to do this if this is new for you, right? It's not a one-size-fits-all. Maybe you don't like sitting down with your eyes closed. That's fine. You can still meditate. So we'll talk about that more. All right. So today we're going to talk about managing our time with regards to some of the things that we're trying to pursue, right? And I will be talking about, I'll be using building a meditation routine as kind of the example, but that doesn't have to be it. Like maybe you want to write a book, right? All these things apply, and meditation is a really great way to help you achieve all those goals, right? So the first thing that we're going to look at, and we're going to look at 3. The first thing is what I'm going to call identifying root intention, right? Weird. Okay. Basically, why, right? This is a really, really deep topic. And kind of sequentially, it's kind of the first thing we go through, but it might be the most challenging. It is for me, right? Why are we doing this, right? So let's say we want to start a meditation practice. That's our New Year's resolution, right? Maybe you want to write a book, whatever yours is. Why? I don't know. Everyone's answer is going to be different, right? Maybe because we want to be more calm. Like maybe that's why we want to do a meditation practice. I don't know. Maybe because our therapist told us to, right? Like there's a lot of different reasons why we're here right now learning meditation. Right? And so identifying, taking time to think about, to contemplate why we want to do this thing that we want to do is super important, right? Because we get influenced by a lot, which is great. That's what helps inspire us. We hear somebody like do a talk on a topic and we're like, oh, I'd really like to learn more about that, right? But why? Why? You want to be like them? Do you think it would help you, right? We want to practice starting to go a layer deeper with our goals, desires, etc., right? What is the root intention for doing this? Right? And this step can be challenging because it requires us to think deeply about stuff. And I got a trick for you, and we're going to do that as our second meditation here today. Right? It's called the why meditation, and we're going to just ask ourselves why a bunch. But that's a great meditation for training ourselves to kind of look a little deeper, right? Because on the surface, it's kind of might be easy for us to identify what I want to be healthy, right? Why do you want to be healthy? So you can live long? Why do you want to live long? Right? So like we can start to practice going a little bit deeper. Georgette, to release anxiety, promote calm, deal with overwhelming feelings in our life, right? Function better, right? That's a lot of good reasons there. Why? We don't have to worry about that. We're going to do that as our meditation after, but that's great. Starting to think about that stuff, right? Okay. So we're going to take some time to identify why we want to do this thing, whatever it is. And then the second kind of tip, and this is where the time management aspect really comes into play, is we're going to kind of find our easy glide mode, right? That's probably a thing. That's probably illegal. I shouldn't say easy glide. That's probably definitely an exercise machine. I paint because I feel like I get inspired to paint. You inspire people to paint. That's amazing, right? That's such a great, like kind, virtuous way of looking about painting, right? Amazing. Right? Cool. Easy glide. Okay. Trademark. So when I say that, what I'm referring to is how can so we've identified the root reason we're doing stuff, right? And then we have some ideas of how we're going to get there. How do we do that with the least friction possible, right? How do we, low impact, right? Essentially, what is our pace, right? And when we think about pace, we generally think about like, running, something like that, right? Or a car, remember like into like car racing, like a pace car. But pacing here, we're talking about the cadence at which we think or do things, right? And everyone's cadence is different. Everyone, right? It might be close. Nobody's the same. And going back to kind of this identifying root stuff, being influenced, right, by what we hear and see, this can affect our pacing, right? So there's a couple things that might do this. One is comparing ourselves to others. It's probably the biggest one, is right. My friend runs 6 times a week. I better do that. Well, that's great for them. Maybe they've been doing it a while, or maybe that's the pace at which they feel they can go, right? But is that yours, right? Is that your easy glide? Is that going to cause friction in your life? Also, excitement can alter our cadence, right? New Year rolls around. I got all these things I want to do. I'm going to set my resolutions. Let's go. Go. Cool. But what happens if we go beyond our pace? We can get burnt out, right? And that's what we do not want to have happen, right? Because whatever your goal is, you will get there. 100%. You will get there. I don't know how long it'll take you, but you'll get there, right? But if you get burnt out, you're going to start to lose interest. You're going to look at that thing as a negative, maybe getting in the way of your life, right? You're going to feel bad about yourself. Why can't I keep up with like my friend who runs 6 times a week, whatever this is, right? So we want to try to avoid this the kind of burnout, right? And one of the best ways to do this is to think about our pace, right? So pace contributes a lot to time management, but I want to go a little bit deeper on it because I think it's really important. Ida, pause. During meditation, I felt I was struggling to pull away. And then I fell into a semi-unconscious state. I was less anxious after. I have meditated before, but never experienced anything like this. Wow. Oh my gosh. Can I get a pull quote on that? That's amazing, Ida, right? That's great. And so everyone has a different kind of experience with meditation, but that's exactly kind of like where you're trying to go, right? Now, remember that because you did that. Well, like what did you actually do? You're just listening to my voice saying some things and you're breathing. And look at all the benefits you're able to get, right? So this is when you have an experience like that, it's really important to remember it. We remember bad experiences a lot. We forget good ones. So remember that because you can do this whenever you want. You don't need me. You don't need anyone, right? You can do this. You got this. That's awesome. Great experience. All right. So we're thinking about our pace. We're thinking about how this contributes to our time management. And I want to frame this as like a scale. Okay? So here's our scale, right? And I want to learn meditation. Now, right now, let's say I never meditated before in my life. So my scale is not meditating is heavy, right? So it's like, and meditating is up here. Like all my other stuff that I do is over here. So now I'm like, I want to meditate, right? Now, if I'm going to put a little weight on meditation, this has got to come up. Right? We want to make sure we're balanced, right? So instead of thinking of pacing or time management, think of time balance. I think that's like a cool way of thinking about this, right? We want to make sure if we're adding stuff, we are taking away others, right? And the reason I suggest doing this at first is because we're busy. I don't even know you, and I know you're busy. We got a lot of responsibilities. There's only so much time in the day. We got work. We got kids. We got all these things, right? And it can feel impossible to fit something new into that schedule, right? But it is possible if we practice balance, right? So let's say I want to start my meditation routine and I'm like, you know what? I want to meditate every day. That's what I want to do. I want to meditate every day for 10 minutes, right? Okay. And we think about why, and we come up with all these cool reasons about why we want to do this. And so then we start to think, okay, I'm going to meditate every day for 10 minutes. And we're like, when am I going to do that? Right? And we start to think about our day and we get it like, I don't know if I'll have time to do that. In the morning, I'm busy. I got to get my kids off to school, right? I don't know if I'll be able to do it at night. I gotta cook. Then I'm tired, right? When am I going to do this thing? Right? So maybe 10 minutes every day isn't your pace right now. And maybe your pace will change, but that's cool. So this whole section is about being honest with yourself, right? Being honest with yourself about what you are able to commit to, slow incremental wins to get to this end state, right? If you're trying to ride a bike and you ride a bike, for 2 hours once every, 3 months, you're probably not going to stick. A couple minutes every day, eventually it's going to stick, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to find our kind of easy glide mode, right? And there's a lot of ways we can do this. One is contemplating, right? Meditating on what is our pace. Literally just thinking about, like, what is the pace that I feel most comfortable with, right? And maybe does that bring up any feelings like, oh, I should be going faster? No, right? Be okay with who you are. Be okay with your pace, right? Cool. And then the third, and then we're going to do our second meditation here, is we want to get creative. And I hinted at this a little bit earlier with like not having to sit down to meditate. We want to get creative with how to reach our goal. Right? Because again, we got a busy day and we might not have 10 minutes to sit down in our house. It's noisy and this and that. That might not be something that we can do. Right. But if we want to meditate, right, and a traditional sitting down meditation isn't for us, or even we don't like it or whatever, we don't have time, there's other ways we can go about reaching our goal, right? And again, I'm talking about meditation practice, but this could be anything. Right? So in terms of meditation, there's other things we can do. You can meditate doing anything. So like brushing your teeth. What do you think about when you brush your teeth? A whole lot of not brushing your teeth. There's nobody on earth who thinks about brushing their teeth exclusively when they're brushing their teeth, right? It's just this activity that we think about other stuff, right? But here is something you do twice a day for, what is it, 2 minutes, 4 minutes or something? 2 minutes? I don't know. I have no idea. Whatever. Ask your local dentist. We do it twice a day for X number of minutes, and we let our mind do whatever it wants. What if we take this time? And this is our meditation. All right? We can make a promise to ourselves. Step one, when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm going to focus on how the bristles feel against my gums or the sound that they make. Right? And then whenever I notice myself thinking about work or whatever, I'm just going to, not right now. I'm going to go back to thinking about brushing my teeth. It's silly, but that's meditation. It's the exact same thing as sitting down with our eyes closed, breathing and focusing and all that. It's the same thing, right? One is not better than the other. We're training our mind to focus on one thing, right? And the beauty of this is that if you have a busy schedule, if you struggle with time management, right here, thinking of ways of weaving in this new goal into your already existing routine is like, nothing new, right? It's not new. There's no time extra that we're committing to this. We're already doing it. And so because it's part of a familiar routine, we inherently feel like it's achievable, right? So again, we're going to talk more about this one next week because this is a really cool topic. And I think it's good for this kind of goal setting time of year. But get creative, right? Whatever your goal is, there's a lot of ways to get there. What's going to work for you? This kind of theme of being honest with ourselves is really, I think, the theme here, right? Identifying root intention. Why? Be honest with yourself. Why am I doing this? Why? Then I know, right? And then maybe I can find clever ways of getting there, right? Finding our pace, right? Being honest with ourselves. What is comfortable for us? How do I like to move, to grow, to learn? And then getting creative with this, right? Do I need to start to get creative? Do I have the time to do this? Right? Cool? Okay. So I want to do a meditation, and the one we're going to do is about identifying root intention. But before I do that, does anyone have any questions on anything that we talked about or thoughts or putting it out there? So this meditation is, if you want to get fancy, it's a contemplation. And all that means is we're focusing single pointedly on a thought or an idea, right? Not like a thing like our breath. It's like we're using our imagination, essentially, right? But the sequence is the same. When does the why stop? Oh. Wow. Deep question, Rob. Well, we're going to do about 5 whys. But depending on what you're asking, it can go for quite a long time. And I think that I'm really glad you brought that up, right? Because this is one of the cool things about this particular meditation is we can start to see that for all the things that we do, our goals, our fears, anxiety, like there's layers to them. It's there, we see a surface level, but under that is a lot more. And understanding the other layers can help us mitigate some of the obstacles that we come across on the surface, right? So when does the why stop? I don't know. That's going to be different for everyone, but let's go find out. Okay, so this is going to be the same kind of setup here. We're going to start by doing a little bit of breathing meditation just to relax. We've been doing a lot of talking about a lot of learning, so let's just relax a little bit. And then I'm going to ask you to turn your attention single pointedly to this kind of thought experiment. Now, I'm going to guide you through it. Don't worry, you're not going to be on your own. But we're basically going to ask ourselves, we're going to think of this something that we want to accomplish in 2024, and then we're going to start to do this kind of why experiment. All right? And then if you ever notice yourself thinking about dinner, oh, I can't wait to eat those Doritos, bagged Doritos. I don't know. Yeah, we're just going to be like, not right now. That's our saying here. We're not saying those thoughts are wrong or unimportant, just not now. And we're going to bring our attention back to our little why experiment. Cool? Okay. So, once again, go ahead and get comfy. You can close your eyes, and we'll do a little breathing meditation followed by our why meditation. So just take a moment and check in. How are you feeling right now? We're not comparing it to before. Before is done. Just now, how are you feeling? And having checked in, you can once again make a choice, a promise to yourself. And that promise is to focus single pointedly on your breath here for the next few moments. Set that intention and then start breathing in and out, gently, naturally. Whenever your attention starts to become split, no big deal. You can just say not right now to those thoughts and guide your focus back to breathing. Get back on track. In and out. Very gently, very naturally. Keep bringing your attention back as many times as you need to. There is no barometer of success. You practicing is the success. You are meditating. Go at your own pace. Be okay with your own pace. Breathing in, breathing out. very gently, very naturally. Start to really plug into your own breath, to follow the air. Visualize it entering and exiting your body with each inhale and exhale. Single pointedly focused on breathing in, breathing out, gently, naturally. So, having done a little breathing meditation, maybe we're feeling a bit more relaxed, even just slightly, even just a microscopic amount. We can use that slightly more relaxed mind to contemplate, to think about something, to meditate on an idea or a concept, to try to gain insight. So that's what we're going to do right now. You could just follow along with what I'm saying and enjoy. I'd like you to bring to mind something that you'd like to accomplish this year. It does not need to be big, grandiose. It can be small. Whatever first pops into your mind, that's what I want you to think about. Picture that objective in your mind. And with that goal, that thing that you want to accomplish in your mind, I want you to ask yourself why. Why do you want to accomplish this? Whatever pops into your mind, that's what you'll now be focusing on. We've gone a layer deeper. Now that you've identified one layer deeper, whatever the answer to why was, I want you to ask yourself why again. Whatever answer pops into your mind, focus exclusively on that. Picture it. Sit with it. Observe it. And with that reason in your mind, ask yourself why. And then sit with that reason. Observe it. Bask in it. And then one more time, ask yourself, why? And whatever comes to mind, sit with that. Single-pointedly focus on that reason. This is the deep root reason of why you want to accomplish your goal. What can you learn from that? Does this change the original goal? Maybe this is your new one. Just for the last few moments, sit with that feeling, whatever feeling you have, and just take a little time for yourself. Okay. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello. Cool. So again, is the same thing. We're just meditating on, instead of doing our breath, we're focusing on why, like this reason, right? And then we're like single-pointedly focus on that, right? And then if we're starting to think about food or something, I don't know why I keep saying food, but then we'll bring our attention back to that thing, right? So this is a really cool meditation. And I think it starts to illuminate how complex some of our goals are, right? And if we don't look a little deeper, we might be missing the reason why we're doing things. And interestingly enough, if we dig deep enough, we start to see some themes about our reasons for doing things. And that might allow us to get creative with how we get there, right? Like we were talking about earlier, right? So, I don't know. Hopefully, you found some interest in that. It's definitely a cool thing to do once in a while. It's also something I do a lot if I'm annoyed, right? If I'm like angry or like I had something happen at work, I'll meditate on that thing that happened. I'll ask myself, like, why am I annoyed? Why? Right? Powerful stuff. Yeah. I mean, the cool thing about meditation is it is very powerful, and you got it all here. There's nothing, you're not doing anything, you're thinking. That's our gift of being human, is we have the ability to intentionally think about things and gain some really wonderful insight into how we are, right, as people. Patrick, thank you. Good. Yeah, this really helps me set a direction too, right? Because sometimes I feel like, well, if I don't meditate every day, then I'm not going to reach my goal. But maybe my goal is like to be happy with who I am, and meditation is an avenue for that. But there's other avenues I can take, right? I said you didn't have to get deep meaning. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like a little cheat sheet. Cool. Awesome, Georgette. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad you had a good experience. Yeah, this is a good one. Definitely do it. Maybe not too much, otherwise you'll just be overwhelmed. Why? Rob, I hope you reached some sort of an end there on why. I don't know. I don't know if they ever end. I guess if they end, then you found it, right? You found the thing that you should be doing, right? Cool. Thank you guys. It's really good to be back. I had a blast teaching as always. Y'all are the best. I'm going to put my email in the chat right now. It is Keith at meditation, whoops, spelled it wrong, meditationbreaks.com. I think that's good. Ida, thank you so much. I'm glad you had a good experience. Karen, thank you. That's my email. If you had a good time, come on back next week. We'll be talking about something else, meditation related. Thank you to anyone who subscribed to my YouTube channel. Ida, big shout out to you. I saw your subscription there. I really do appreciate that. And anyone who chooses to do so in the future means a lot to me. And you get to look at all my old sessions. You want to see how I've aged over the years, go right ahead. And then finally, if you're really into this, I do offer private instruction, which is a really, really good way to start to get deep insight into something that's very, pertinent to you. Maybe like goal setting is not really your thing. You want to focus on anxiety or something like that. We can focus on that. So if a one-on-one is interesting to you, just email me and we can find a time to do it. It's all done, virtually, and it's pretty laid back, right? Cool. Thank you guys. I appreciate you taking time to be here. I hope this was a good start to 2024, and I'll see you all next week, all right?